how you feel on this issue, should reject it completely. What are they doing? They're doing this so that Nancy Mace can make a buck and send a text and fundraise off an email. They're not doing this to protect people. They're endangering women. They're endangering girls of all kinds. And everybody should reject it. It's gross.
I'm not identifying. I know you believe a lot in self-identity. I do not identify as conservative.
I don't know what that means.
I'm like Bill Maher. I'm just completely bemused by the woke left and how nuts you've all got, right? And I think this election...
Bill Maher's an old, rich libertarian who's bitter at the world.
Okay, look, I want to go ahead and say this before we get to Nancy Mace. I want to go ahead and say this before we get to Emma Viegland's nonsense. This is an issue where the American people, for the most part, have spoken loud and clear, as Shermichael Shingleton from CNN is about to explain.
I spent a lot of time looking at every single data point that I could find on this topic. The overwhelming vast majority of the American people say that they believe you should use the restroom of your biological sex. If you were born a male, you should use the restroom with men, and vice versa for women. And so I think Republicans are in sync with where most of the American people are on this issue. And we saw that play out very well in this recent election.
Okay, now, before we get to all that, and you guys obviously saw that, you guys obviously heard that, I want to go ahead and say this. This issue about bathrooms, this issue became relevant to my neck of the woods back in 2016. Pat McCrory, the governor of North Carolina at that time, who eventually would get defeated, he got defeated for other reasons outside of the bathroom issue. He got into some hot water over this same exact issue. That issue being you use the bathroom of your assigned sex or gender, whichever one you might want to use. I personally prefer to go with the term sex, but I'm only saying it this way because of YouTube's algorithm. Speaking of the algorithm, make sure you guys please go ahead and cut the notifications on so that way you guys are notified when the channel releases a video. Also, to go on top of that there, make sure you guys please hit the like button for the algorithm. And of course, you guys can find me on Facebook and Twitter. I'll link pinned tweets in the description box, pinned post, so that way you guys can do so. Please hit the like button also on the post as well, so that way when the video is posted to Facebook, it will also go up their algorithm as well. So let's go ahead and get back on topic. The topic here is a Democrat congresswoman, whom, by the way, I did mention in passing. And like I said, I'm only saying congresswoman because of the algorithm. I did mention in passing in a video earlier this week, the video that I did called Woke 2.0. You guys have seen the thumbnail right now, and it will be linked in the description box as well, where this bathroom issue has popped back up. I say go ahead and make it a national issue because the American people have spoken loud and clear on this. As Shermichael explained earlier, the American people pretty much say the exact same thing. You use the bathroom that you're supposed to go to. So now you got a congresswoman, McBride, it's going to say McBride, who, of course, identifies as a woman. And you've got Nancy Mace, congresswoman out of South Carolina. And I'll tell you the real reason why it is that she did this, because you're probably thinking to yourself, couldn't Trump do this with an executive order? Yes, Trump could do this with an executive order, but it's the strategy behind this. And don't worry, we'll get to that more towards the end of the video. You guys know me, I'll start on something and then come right back to the beginning where I end. But the point is this right here. Nancy Mace has got some ground here because Nancy Mace is the survivor of SA. I have to say that because the algorithm can't use the actual full terms. Or maybe I'll say assault, but she is a survivor of that. She has survived predators coming after her. So I think if anybody's got any ground to stand on, even though obviously Mace is doing it for strategic purposes as well, it's obviously Nancy Mace. She knows what the hell it's like to have a predator come after her. But once again, here we are having this conversation on something that, quite frankly, should be pretty daggone common sense. These people don't follow the science. Of course, you know, the science is now a pseudoscience to the left, but, I mean, once again, here we are. And, of course, the liberal media, they're going to go out of their way to give a voice to said person who is trying to play the victim right now.
U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson today took aim at Democrat Sarah McBride, the first ever transgender member elected to Congress. With his decision to bar transgender people from using those Capitol complex bathrooms that do not align with their sex assigned at birth.
But we have single-sex facilities for a reason.
McBride today said she didn't come to Washington to fight about bathrooms. South Carolina Republican Nancy Mace has led the charge to bar McBride from women's rooms here and does not acknowledge McBride is a woman. McBride spoke with CBS News Sunday morning in October.
And I can't believe I'm asking you this, but I'm going to. What bathrooms will you use when you're in the Capitol?
The bathrooms that I've used in the state Senate, the bathrooms that I use when I'm going out to...
Okay, before I talk about some of what you guys saw in that news clip from CBS, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. The nuance that goes into this is the same thing that we've been talking about for really, like I mentioned earlier, ever since 2016. It may have actually been 2015 when that occurred, but still at the same time, the nuance here has been discussed on several occasions. All right, I don't think I need to say it anymore. I don't think anybody else needs to say it anymore. The left has already lost on this issue. It just has not been made fully official yet, which I'm pretty sure it will be. But let's get back to the topic at hand before the video goes completely off the rails, because this right here is once again an insane topic to discuss in an insane world. Okay, now, let me say this, all right, before we go any further. I mean, you guys obviously heard that. You guys saw it. You guys heard it. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has already said the House rules. You will go to the bathroom that you're supposed to go to. He's already said that. Trump can come in and sign an executive order, and that would actually basically say you go to the bathroom of you're supposed to go to, the bathroom of your biology. He can sign an executive order. He can renew that executive order every 6 months. He did it when he came in office the first time. It was actually one of the very first executive orders that he signed. So there really is no way of getting around this if you're the left. But of course, that does not stop them from arguing, whining, and crying about the fact that they can't use the other gender's bathroom, which is where we enter AOC and her incessant whining. Let's listen to this before we get to Viegland.
Are endangering all women and girls. Because if you ask them, what is your plan on how to enforce this? They won't come up with an answer. And what it inevitably results in are women and girls who are primed for assault because people are going to want to check their private parts in suspecting who is trans and who is cis and who's doing what. And so the idea that Nancy Mace wants little girls and women to drop trow in front of who? An investigator? Who would that be? In order, because she wants to suspect and point fingers at who she thinks is trans, is disgusting. It is disgusting. And frankly, all it does is allow these Republicans to go around and bully any woman who isn't wearing a skirt because they think she might not look woman enough. People have a right to express themselves, to dress how they want, and to be who they are. And if a woman doesn't look woman enough to a Republican, they want to be able to inspect her genitals to use a bathroom. It's disgusting. And everybody, no matter how you feel on this issue, should reject it completely. What are they doing? They're doing this so that Nancy Mace can...
Yeah, I need to say this right quick about AOC. I have to say this about video editing. When you edit videos and you're doing your clipping and whatnot, you're trying to find the perfect shot for a thumbnail. And that's how I got this one. So all of AOC's faults, all of her stupidity, all of her looniness, all of her grandstanding right there, she at least provided me some bit for my thumbnail, so I'll at least give her. But still, it's just looniness. It's just nonsense. The fact that we have to continue to have a conversation about this. As a matter of fact, in the second video of the day, you guys are going to see it get much, much worse because we got to go back to the city of New York because another story broke out of there that, quite frankly, just defies how stupid a person can be or how lazy a person can be. But it's funny that I just mentioned New York because New York City is going to get mentioned again, actually, in this video here when we get to Piers and Emma. The point is this right here. The American people have overwhelmingly spoke. They've been polled on this issue consistently. And as Shermichael said earlier, the American people agree. You use the bathroom that you're assigned to use. Sounds to me like a mandate. Sounds to me like what Nancy Mace is doing here is actually the right thing to do. Even though she's doing it really more for strategic purposes, she's correct. I mean, to me, it's sad that we have to legislate something like this. That's how loony we have gone. But I did say that the situation would get loonier. So with that right there out of the way, let's go ahead and get to Piers Morgan and the looniness of this little segment he did with Emma Viegland. Now, real quick, before we react to all this, I want you guys to pay very, very close attention. Not so much to Emma, who, by the way, we are going to be talking about, okay? But I want you to pay attention to how many times she interrupts Piers before he tries to get to another guest. And just pay attention to the words, there's just the phrases that she uses. Because you're going to hear a lot of, how do I say, playing the victim. You're going to hear a lot of, my worldview is more superior to yours. You're also going to be hearing a lot of, you're guilty, or you are doing exactly what I'm guilty of already been doing. Like I said, the left, they love to accuse you of that which they are already guilty of. You're going to hear a lot of projection here, and a lot of rudeness too. But let's go ahead and start.
Over an alleged one-night stand with a porn star. So it's not quite how you categorized it. Deborah Lee, let me bring you in here.
Has this trans lawmaker been accused of rape? Has this trans lawmaker
No, but actually, if you are a congresswoman, if you're a congresswoman who survives sexual assault, you should be entitled to feel safe in the restroom.
The presence of a trans woman in the bathroom. Gosh, you know, here in New York, there are a lot of multi-gender bathrooms, and I've gone to the bathroom next to a man. Oh my goodness, it was so fearful. What was I going to do
be quite
with the
fearful
rest of my life? I mean,
if I found you lurking next to me in a men's restroom, I'd feel fearful. Deborah Lee, let me bring you in here. I just think
that is.
Okay, two things right there I want to go ahead and point out. First of all, when she says, I'm so fearful, that right there is a load of crap. All right, now I'm going to be linking this episode from the Tim Pool Culture War podcast that she did with him and Sean Fitzgerald. I advise you guys check that out. It's very eye-opening to how to the links and bounds, the mental gymnastics that these people use to justify their positions. However, we're going to be bringing that back up a little bit later on, because there's another segment in this commentary or whatever these two are doing, this argument, this back and forth, that's extremely eye-opening, especially when it comes to the topic of language and how they use certain language and how it is that they accuse you of that which they are already guilty of. But the second thing that I want to point out is the bit where she said New York, here in New York. First of all, the United States of America is not New York City, and New York City is not the United States of America. We have states, we have cities, we have counties, we have our own ordinances. This right here is what you call a representative democracy or a democratic republic. I think that right there is the term that we love to use the most. By the way, if we use the standards of democracy, direct democracy, guess what, Emma? Your side lost because Donald Trump won the popular vote. But still, if we let's just say for the sake of argument that we even thought about New York for a second there. I'm going to link another video, by the way, from Sean Fitzgerald in the description box for you guys that he recently put out, where he actually brought up a very interesting clip of Emma talking about the situation in New York with the subway and how it is if you just get hit in the face in the subway, you need to just go ahead and just kind of accept it. That's the mindset these people have. And I think I know the real reason why this is the case. And a lot of other people are probably saying exactly what I'm going to say at the very end, but I'm going to say it anyways because, quite frankly, I want to. It's my video. I can do that. But let's get back to this. Now, I want you guys to think about something really quick. While she's talking, just think about how, just listen to how many times that Piers tries to get the hell away from this woman to go to somebody else, another person on the panel. It's just pure flat-out rudeness is what these people are, because that's what they've kind of resorted to, just being rude, just for the sake of being rude. And it's a wonder why it is that people don't want to talk to them, but let's get back to it.
Ridiculous accusation, Piers.
I didn't make an accusation. It was a statement of fact. I would feel fearful.
You would feel uncomfortable? Why would you feel uncomfortable?
If you were lurking around me in a men's urinal, damn right I'd feel uncomfortable.
Lurking? Who's lurking?
Well, what else would you be doing there?
Is this lawmaker lurking?
What else would you be doing there?
Going to the restroom.
I don't want you going in my...
I kind of like how Piers spun that around when he said, I don't want you going inside the bathroom where I'm at. Basically, I want you going to the same urinal I am. By the way, I want to go ahead and say this really quick. There's not too many cases. It's very, very rare that there are cases of women playing in men's sports. I'm just pointing that out before we go any further.
It's true.
Stick in your own restroom. For my safety, never mind yours.
Okay, but would a man be lurking? Would a biological man, is he lurking next to you?
That's the whole point.
Why is there something inherently perverted about going to the bathroom? You right-wingers, and yes, I'm including you in this with this classical liberal BS, are so bad faith. It's incredible. You are linking sexual abuse and sexual assault to trans people inherently, and that is a bigoted statement.
No, I want trans people to have, I want them to have fairness and equality like the rest of us, just not where it erodes women's rights. But Deborah Lee, you've been listening to this patiently.
But separate but equal.
Did she just use the term perverted? Okay, let me go ahead and bring back up what I was mentioning earlier about the Tim Pool Culture War podcast that Emma Viegland was on. Let me just kind of break this down for you. There is a segment in that discussion, roughly 30 minutes in, where Tim Pool brings up the books, This Boy is Blue, Genderqueer, the same stuff that was being thrown in the faces of students, the LGBTQ curriculum, those books. And basically, Tim Pool said that he felt that these books should be banned from small children's eyes. He even produced the books, showed her proof, and Emma Viegland's response to him was, so you're anti the First Amendment. Okay, look, freedom of speech is freedom of speech, freedom of religion is freedom of religion, but there are some things that, quite frankly, do need to be away from children. Case in point, books of the sexual nature. This is the worldview that these people operate in, and I would say that it was just her being a bad actor, which, of course, I would say that it is, because she is, quite frankly, pretty daggone dishonest. But this is the worldview that these people live in. It's almost as if to say that reality, it's like, look, their reality and our reality are two different things. However, their reality is beginning to get much, much smaller. So you're probably going to hear more crying out of these people going forward. But in case you didn't notice, this woman continues to interrupt him. It's just rude is what the hell this is. Bad manners. While he's trying to get to someone else. Who, by the way, is going to make a point here that I think solidifies the entire argument. But let's get back to it.
Good question.
Sure.
Right? Here's my question. If I, as a man who identifies as a liberal, if I can see why it's so wrong for biological men who have now become trans women to be in women's spaces, to be in women's sport, to be everywhere in women's lives where they historically were not biological men supposed to be, why are you not as exercised by this as a woman? I don't get it.
Well, first of all, absolutely. I host a sports podcast. I care deeply about sports, and I believe that anybody that identifies as a woman should be able to participate in the sport as long as it abides by the particular bylines or guidelines.
You know it's wrong. You know it's unfair.
Said sports league, but actually, we're talking here about Nancy Mace, who loves a camera in her face and loves attention wherever she can get it. You know, I find it pretty disgusting that she is basically implying that this trans lawmaker, just by being in her presence in the bathroom, may rape her.
Deborah Lee, let me bring you in here.
Has this trans lawmaker been accused of rape? Has this trans lawmaker...
No.
Okay, first and foremost, she doesn't care about women. She doesn't care about women's sports. If she really and truly cared about women and women's sports, then she would have been one of the first people out there advocating against Thomas being in women's swimming. She'd been one of the first people to basically say that Megan Rapinoe was wrong for her position. She would have been the first person to say that. The truth be told is these people are not really and truly actual feminists, nor the hell do they even really and truly care about women. So just go ahead and get that. Just go ahead and get that out of the way now. Something else too that I've noticed about these people is that they're not exactly in favor of procreation, which is kind of weird too, because normally you would want your line to continue beyond you, but of course, these people don't believe in any form of self-accountability. So maybe it kind of connects. Maybe I'll do a video on that at a later date, kind of a psychological study. I really and truly don't know. I'm thinking about using film to kind of do my commentary going forward, especially doing video essays. But we'll talk about that next week because I have an idea how I'm going to do things. But still, though, the point is this right here. You can tell that this woman is obviously bad faith in every single area. If you look at her past positions, if you look at the positions that she's adapting now, she's not exactly a friend of women. So, yeah, right off the bat, you can go ahead and say that this woman is being 100% dishonest when she says that she cares about women's sports. That right there is point number one. Point number two, these people are loyal more to ideology than anything else. The ideology is what the hell these people are loyal to, not women. All right? All you got to do is just go in there, put a wig on, say that you're a woman and you're a leftist, and that right there is what it is. That right there is what these people really and truly are loyal to, their peers. They are loyal only to ideology. However, like I said before, there were several moments where Emma would throw her rude ass in while he was trying to get to Deborah, and Deborah was about to make a point, so let's let Deborah make a point.
And you say that you speak up for women's rights, but have you heard about the case in Virginia where a man put on a skirt, even though he went with male pronouns, and went into the bathroom and sexually assaulted a 15-year-old girl, and now the parents are suing the school because they tried covering it up. You want to protect women? We're not saying that every single trans person has violent tendencies, but it's opening this up that any single person, if there's no checks on this, any man can put on a skirt, say, I'm a woman, and go into the bathroom, and it's paving the way to make it easier for predators to attack women. And I don't know why you're so offended absurd that women want to be able to use the bathroom without men in their presence. That is something that is totally normal.
Everything she said there was 100% correct. However, I want to talk a little bit about the Loudoun County situation. And the reason why I want to talk about the Loudoun County situation is because the Loudoun County situation is just the tip of the iceberg. Things could always get much, much worse. There was also an incident that occurred in Texas, another incident that occurred in Oklahoma, where a boy went to a girl's restroom and beat the living shit out of 2 girls. That is the reason why it is that these rules are in place. You don't want men going inside women's restrooms assaulting them. The case in Loudoun County, Virginia, was going back to the bit that I was talking about with Tim Pool when Emma Viegland was on that show, was when he brought those books. Those same books were being introduced into the classroom in Loudoun County, Virginia. Loudoun County, Virginia, by the way, Northern Virginia, heavily Democratic. It swung heavy to the right this past election. Trump didn't take the county, but still, though, it swung to the right. You're probably wondering why the hell that's the case, and you've just got the answer. The culture war obviously did this. So what eventually happened was that a boy went to the girl's restroom and assaulted a girl. This issue basically did not get brought to light, and then the father of said girl showed up to a school board meeting to protest, and he eventually got arrested. But to close this video out, I want you guys to look at a tweet that I actually put up at the very beginning of the video, because it goes back to the very, very start of the video, where Shermichael was explaining that the American people has pretty much already been polled on this issue, and it consistently says the same thing. You go to the bathroom of your biological sex. That's this tweet from Kyle Kulinski, where he decided to tweet out in an attempt to troll Nancy Mace over putting a sign that says biological. These idiots don't understand that this is actually how we win. Because the dumber and dumber and dumber they are, the dumber and dumber takes they put out there, thinking that they are rational, sane takes, that everybody agrees with them, the more and more and more people see how loony these people are, the less and less likely they are to put them in office, and more likely they are to outright reject these people. Remember, people like Kyle Kulinski, people like Emma Viegland, they are the policy wonks that the online left goes to, or the Democratic Party gets their information from. The more and more they see the stupidity of these people, the more and more likely they are to reject. But you guys tell me what you think in the comments section. Make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comments. There will probably be 3 videos out from this one. I'm going to have a story in New York broke today that I've got no choice but to cover, because it's hilarious to see, yet also sad. And of course, it's also just they'll be out tomorrow. And of course, on Saturday, I'll be talking about the Twitch apocalypse. On Sunday, I'll probably talk about Gladiator 2, because I'm going to go see it tomorrow night and give you guys a bit of a review on it, because I did say I was going to start doing more film stuff, more film things related going forward. So make sure you guys stick around for all that. Going to be a bit of a busy weekend, but stay tuned. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.